Hey there guys, and welcome back. On this week's show, we're going to be making a shaving brush. Well, it's a turning project on the show today, and it all starts off with a piece of damson wood that is 3 1/4 inches long. Now, I've had this drying for about 5 years, so it should be pretty good by now to turn. I also have this shaving brush insert that was purchased for me. You can get these at your local woodworking stores. And the first step that we need to do is we need to drill a 20mm diameter hole using a Forstner bit in the top of our blank, and we're going to make it 5/16 of an inch deep. Because of our mounting method on the lathe, I'm also going to need a 3/16 inch hole that is drilled in the center of this 20mm hole, and we're probably going to make it about 3/4 of an inch deep. Well, our mounting method in this case is a headstock expandable collet, and I've removed the actual expanding part because this one has the ability to have a hanger bolt installed in the middle, and that we can screw into our 3/16 hole that we just drilled in our stock. We've got the headstock and the expandable collet with the hanger bolt securely holding our stock at the headstock, and I've put a live center at the tailstock just to stabilize it until I can get this turned around, of course, because it's a little wonky. So let's turn it around. And now that it's rounded, we can start shaping our shaving brush. Well, the first step in the process for me is I want to get the tip of this where our brush is going to go down to its final dimension. And I've spaced this out from our expandable collet with some 1/4 inch flat washers. The reason for that is I want this thinner than what this steel collet will allow me to go. So I want to get a little bit of a gap in there. So you may hear those rattling around. So I'm just going to use my parting tool, and we're going to take this down to our final dimension of our end of the brush. And I think we're pretty good with that there. I might just try to round this out a little bit in here, but I think that's pretty good for our final dimension. For my liking, I'm only going to want it about between a 1/16 and an 1/8 of an inch of material that shows around the edge of the brush. So now we need to bring in a divot to make it comfortable here, and for that we're going to be using a spindle gouge, and we'll just carefully shape it. I have no pattern or nothing in mind here. I'm just trying to come up with a usable, comfortable shape. Well, I got a little overzealous with my turning, and you can see here that I've actually cut through and broken off the end. Well, not a big deal, I guess. I will lop this off, and then I will re-drill my 20mm hole, restart the whole process. I think I still have enough on this blank that I'll be able to finish the project. So I'm going to repair this by drilling a new hole, getting it remounted. I'll reshape that front, and then I'm going to come back and see and show you what I ended up with on the tip shaping of this particular brush. Well, you can see we're starting to get our basic shape back, and I'm going to continue to shape this until I get this nose section here where our brush would be done to the shape that I like. And I think I'm pretty content with this particular shape here. So we'll continue to taper this back, and I think I'm going to end up with another little divot back here, maybe round off the back end. I'm not really sure. The bottom line here is that you want to turn it to whatever makes you happy, to whatever you see fit, and that's what I'm going to do. So here we go. I think I pretty much like the shape that we have here now for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand this, and I'm going to go from 80 grit all the way up to 320. Now guys, when you're sanding on a lathe, please, please, please get a dust mask on. Now that last little step was called burnishing, and that's where I take some of the original stock material, some of the chips, and I place it over top of our piece, and I press down and give some pressure at a little higher speed, and it burnishes the wood. You can see it gives it quite a nice sheen. Well, at this point, I'm going to part this off the tailstock. I'm going to get rid of this cumbersome thing here, and we're going to finish up the end of our piece. Well, the next step in this process for me anyway is to apply a finish. And for something that gets a lot of hand use here, a lot of fondling when you're using it, a lot of abrasion, and as well the water that gets in contact with this, I've chosen a CA glue finish. Now I'm going to be applying multiple coats of this glue. I'm not in a hurry, so I won't be using any accelerator. I'm just going to apply the glue, let that finish dry, the coat, and then I'll come back and I'll apply another finish. And I'll just keep going like that until I'm happy with it. It will be many coats. You don't need a video of every single one. If you're interested in how to do this finish, there is a show on the channel. I'll link it below. Well, if you're happy with the way that your handle turned out and you're ready to finish it off, all you need to do now is get some 2-part epoxy, and we're going to mix a little bit up. We're going to put it in this cavity here, and we're going to glue our shaving brush into our handle. And there you have it, a shaving brush. Guys, this is a fantastic project to use up some scrap wood that's in your rack. It takes up so little stock to make one of these that obviously those small pieces that you didn't know what to do with before can now have a use. This particular piece for me has been sitting in my shop for 5 years drying, waiting to be used. And my father got the piece of wood for me, and I think it's found its proper home in the handle of this shaving brush. Guys, it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to spend half an hour, 45 minutes in your shop. It's a great gift idea to get to your family and friends for Christmas, birthdays, that sort of thing. Or just, you know what, I'm thinking of you kind of a gift. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me again this week. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and I hope you're going to join me again next week for yet another woodworking video.